All right, welcome back. And so this time we're going to go ahead and use kind. So kind seems very similar to Minikube. So it'll just be up to you what you decide that you want to use for your local development. But what I'll do is just to make things a little bit easier, I'll just close some of the tabs we have here. Let's just do a little bit of cleanup here. We don't need Minikube open up here. And so we'll take a look at kind. And we'll close some of these tabs here. So kind is a tool for running local Kubernetes clusters using Docker container nodes, primarily designed for testing Kubernetes itself, but may be used for local development and CI. A lot of people like it because it's like a later version of Minikube and can be very, very fast, though Minikube can be very robust and useful in a lot of cases. It just depends on what you need and how small you want to go here. So to install it, we'll go over to the user guide here. And I believe the way I installed it was from a binary, but we'll go to installation here. We'll take a look here. So notice we'll see package managers like Brew, that's for Mac OS, Choco, Chocolate, which is like Brew, but for Windows, Mac ports, which is an alternative. And then for Linux, it's just going to have to be a binary, which is not a big deal. So we'll be copying these lines here. So we'll go back over to Cloud9 here. Oops, I forgot to copy the lines here, but we'll go and copy one at a time. So we'll first curl. And make sure we're in the environment directory there. You might have to CD back there to do that. I'm going to just type clear again. We're having some funny business where it's just showing that top line. There we go. Which is fine, I guess. But we'll paste that in there. And we'll go back to the quick start and we'll do chmod. Notice it's plus X. You could do U plus X. That's just what I'm used to doing, but it doesn't really matter. And then notice it's going to say some kind of directory. But the directory we want that to be in is going to be the user local bin. So we'll go here and we'll type in user local bin. And this is not going to work unless we do this. Okay. And so I should be able to type kind, and there it is. Okay. And so now that it is installed, we'll go back to quick start. And we need to create our cluster. So creating our cluster is very straightforward. It should be kind create cluster. We can even name our cluster if we want, but we'll just go ahead and do that. So we'll say kind create cluster. And we'll give it a moment there, and it should start up a cluster. Now remember, we have kubectl already installed, so it should be pretty easy. But I think if we didn't, we could probably do kind kubectl as well. But anyway, this is supposed to be faster than Minikube. And we'll give it a moment here. It's not feeling much faster, but when I was using it before, I felt it felt really blazing fast, but I'm not sure what's going on. It is taking some time to create that control plane, which is totally fine. Oh, there we go. So installing KCNA, storage class, things like that. So set kubectl context to kind. Oh, it did. So, okay, so you can now use the cluster within here. So kube cluster info to get some information. So we'll do that. So it says Kubernetes control plane is running here. Core DNS is running here. To further debug and diagnose cluster problems, use kubectl cluster info dump. So if we type in kubectl and we were to type in get pods, we can see there's no pods. We could do -a. Notice that it has, looks like a different amount of pods. So we have core DNS, and then we have maybe this is a proxy, I'm not sure here. We have a control plane running. We have kindnet. We have API server, control manager, proxy, scheduler, path provisioner, local path provisioner, not sure what that is. Oh, I guess, oh, storage path, okay. And so, you know, you can just see like it's not one-to-one with Minikube, right? So there's going to be a different amount of pods doing slightly different things. But now that we have it, let's just go ahead and deploy our application like we did before. So what we'll do is we'll type in kubectl, and that's in our K8 directory. So we'll say apply -f K8 deployment, right? And so that should go ahead and deploy that. And now if we want to see that, we can type in kubectl get deployment. And if a deployment ever messes up, what you can do is you can type in describe. You can get more detailed information, and you can type in something like Sinatra works with pods, works with everything. And sometimes you get a lot more information. So here it'll be saying like scaled up the replica. It'll say what it's up to and a lot of additional information. So if you ever have a failure, always try describe to help yourself out. But we'll say deployment, and we're just waiting for it to get ready, and it is now ready. So that is started. If we do a curl localhost 8080, notice there's a connection refused. So there's has to be some way for us to access that. I'm trying to remember, kubectl is a command that, yeah, it's not specific to kind or minikube, so we can probably do that as well. So we'll type in kubectl port forward. Don't forget the R there. I always forget it. Deployment Sinatra 8080 4567, because that's what it actually runs on. And then we'll have to bind it to 000. So 0000, enter. And so now, if that's all set up, we should be able to open a new tab here, terminal, and we'll type in curl localhost 8080, Andrew Brown. There we go. I never tried to set up kind for a dashboard, so I'm not even sure how to do it. We solved it for Minikube, and it was really hard to solve just because we're running it in a virtual machine to expose it. So I'm not sure if we need to do anything beyond that, but that's just kind there. So it's not super difficult. I'm going to take a look here to see if I can figure out the dashboard. I'll be back in a second, okay? All right, so I looked it up, and it actually is a bit involved. So Minikube definitely makes it super easy, but like here's just a Medium article where they go through that process. And so they say, okay, we create a kind cluster, then we are going to use Helm. Helm is a way of packaging applications together, so that could make our life a lot easier if we tried to use Helm. But that's a little bit farther in the course. I don't know if I really want to dig into that. But the idea is that you would add a repository like this GitHub dashboard. So Kubernetes GitHub is a repository, like the dashboard is, if we go like Kubernetes dashboard GitHub, it should probably have one here. So it's pointing to this basically, right? And in here, there probably is a Helm package somewhere here. But anyway, so the idea is that you do that, and then you do Helm install dashboard, Kubernetes dashboard. So it looks like it also creates a new namespace, and then you'd have to set up a proxy, and we had a proxy before, and then you'd have this link, and then you'd have to authenticate, because you can't just log in. You have to have a token or something. And so then to log in the dashboard, they're creating a service account. So that's like a type of role, like permissions. That's RBAC. And I would imagine that, I mean, they didn't activate it, but they might have to activate RBAC. So you can see it gets really, really involved, right? So I think that, I mean, this would be good to do, but maybe not right now because it's very complicated. This is more like CKAD or CKA kind of material. But I just wanted to show you the effort would be to go get that there. So maybe that's one advantage of using Minikube, and probably we'll stick to using Minikube. But for kind, we pretty much did what we wanted to do with it just to see that we can install it and it was easy to use. So I'm going to type in kind delete cluster. I think that's probably what it is. I'm just guessing and it still works. That's great. And so kind is solved. And the last one I want to do is micro K8s. Okay, so that's what we'll do next. Okay.